Hi everyone, I'm Janna.
And I'm Julianne. Welcome to our podcast,
Life in a Salad.
So today we wanted to dive in a little bit more on just getting good quality sleep. I think a lot of us, it's maybe sounds like a little bit of a boring topic, but honestly it's so important just in everything that we do to get a good amount of sleep. I know a lot of us struggle with it.
Yeah, so I was actually about to say the same thing because if someone said let's talk about sleep, I think boring, I'm gonna go to sleep talking about this. But after having my own struggles and I thought I could burn the candle at both ends, I'm like, oh, sleep actually is important.
I know, right? Especially, I think a lot of us when we're maybe younger and, just trying to get things done, you just push yourself past your point.
Actually, I think we all think we're invincible when we're younger. You can do anything, right? Stay up all night, go to work the next day, hang out with your friends, eat pizza. Like, what's the big deal?
And sleep is a big part of that. So I think that's really important to just dive right in. What is the big deal with not getting enough sleep?
Yes. So there's quite a few reasons of why sleep matters, but first and foremost, the reason why we even go to sleep is because our body cells need to repair. And this is like on a whole nother level, a
cellular level.
Yes.
So way down back to the magic school bus days, just imagine that you are inside of your body, going in and finding out what's going on when you're sleeping. It's actually very active. So although you're asleep, your body is doing a lot of activity, a lot of cell repair when you're sleeping, which is so important and probably a big part of why you might notice if you're not getting enough good quality sleep, not just trying to lay down there and not sure if you're sleeping or not, but getting good quality sleep is going to help you to feel your best and to avoid getting sick, because that's when your body is going in and making those repairs. If it's not doing that, you're very likely to start, having that lower resistance and getting sick.
Right. So let's say you have a car and you're like, this car is amazing and I believe it can do anything, it can get through anything. Therefore, I'm not getting an oil change. I'm not changing the tires. Like, this car's gonna last forever. Why do I even need to worry about it? So sleep could be compared to this because if you're not getting adequate sleep and giving your body that time to repair itself, your body is going to start to break down in different ways. And that can look differently for everyone. But a lot of things that you might notice when you start missing more and more sleep is that your cognition isn't good. You might start feeling run down, feeling sickly, and those are just a few things to name.
Yeah, and I think that's a really awesome point just to kind of start with. And when we start to do these things over long periods of time, so you might notice those short-term effects, right? Where you're feeling run down, not doing your best, but over long periods of time of getting this chronically low amount of sleep, you're going to start to notice more of these chronic issues developing as well. So studies and research shows that for those who are chronically sleep deprived, you're actually going to be much more susceptible and likely to develop hypertension. So high blood pressure, that's a big one. Also diabetes, that's a huge one. And as that's been on the rise, so has been depression. This is linked directly for those that have been chronically deprived of sleep.
Yes. Another thing is that when you're sleeping, your body releases hormones that help repair the body, and if we're not getting enough sleep, those hormones are not going to be released as readily, and we need those so much for repair.
Yeah, and really just in general, all the functions in your body, so your hormones do a lot of really good things for you. Other things might start to, be a little bit off for you when you're not getting that regular and good quality sleep.
Yes, so I know for myself, when I was a new nurse, I had to work nights and days. It was a requirement, which is just crazy
because you have it on your body.
Yes, and that's in healthcare, which I just thought, that is crazy. Either put us on days or nights. Nights aren't good, but to be flipping back and forth was just so bad. I felt sick the whole year. I only stayed at this place for a year because it definitely wasn't worth it. And I even noticed when I drive home in the morning after working a night shift, I could barely keep my eyes open, and I almost felt like I was seeing things on the road that weren't really there. So not getting enough sleep could even be equivalent to being under the influence or alcohol, where you just don't have the cognition to get done what you need to do. Who wants to be like that?
Yeah, and it's true. Research actually does show that after you have been awake for a certain amount of time, it is going to have the same type of influence as if you were under the influence of alcohol, which is pretty shocking. I think it's close to when you get around 18 or so hours of being awake. So if you're driving, when you've had very little sleep, I've had the same thing happen to me where I was starting to actually hallucinate while I was driving, which is extremely dangerous. Clearly, if that happens to you, you need to pull over right away. Take a nap, find a rest stop, gas station, whatever it is. It's not worth it.
No, it's not. And I even remember when I was in my early 20s, I would have friends that had just random jobs that they could sleep until noon. So
Yeah.
they want to stay out bowling, hanging out with friends.
Which is fun.
It is so fun.
It is.
But at the time, I was like, oh yeah, I can go. So I'd stay out really late, have to go to work the next day, the whole day, then go to school after because I was taking college courses at the same time. And I was running myself into the ground. And it's just, I've learned now, I'm on a pretty strict bedtime now, and it feels so much better.
Yeah, honestly, it does. It might be hard to get yourself into that rhythm, but just pay attention to how much better that does feel when you get a good night's rest. It's amazing. It's night and day difference.
It really is, and you're able to accomplish so much more. Everyone's different with their timeline, but for me, like, I love an early morning and getting stuff done, but that's just my preference.
Yeah, that's not my preference.
I know,
I'm a night owl, but even being a night owl, I need to specifically look at how much sleep I am allotting myself. So most people are going to average for adults needing a minimum of 7 hours of sleep per night, and you may need even more than that. So I know for me myself, especially if I'm getting really good workouts in that are regular, maybe I'm lifting a little bit heavier weight, I might need 8.5 hours some nights, and that feels really good for me. But everyone's needs are different, so you gotta see what's best for you. But studies do show minimum of at least 7 hours, good quality sleep every single night, and maybe even more based off of your individual needs.
Right, and that can change, like she's saying, based on like what your body expenditures were for the day. Maybe you went hiking and you had a crazy schedule the rest of the week and you just need more sleep. And that's things that we've talked about in other episodes and videos of really listening to your body and doing what's best. If that's maybe sleeping in the morning and missing that workout, that's okay.
Yes.
Obviously, don't miss it every day, but it's balanced with everything.
But if that's what's happening too, then it can be tempting to cut in on your sleep, but it might be useful to take a look at other things going on in your life and see what else can get a little bit. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Right. So the next point is, what are good sleep hygiene things that we can do or implement into our lives to be able to change this?
And what even is sleep hygiene too?
Yes.
Because not everyone's heard this term before, but basically it's just how to set yourself up for having a good quality sleep, feeling well rested, because this can actually be a bit of a challenge for some of us, a lot of us, I think.
Yes, it can be, because it can be so tempting to stay up late, or maybe, I know,
get that.
Yeah, or even it can even be like a Sunday night when you've had the whole weekend and the last thing you want to do is go to bed and think, great, when I wake up in the morning I have to go to work, or I have all these things I have to do on a list. So it makes it tempting to just stay up late, scroll through Facebook endlessly for no reason, or whatever you happen to be doing.
Yes, so sleep hygiene. So first of all, setting the stage for good quality sleep is so important. So if you're going to be successful with anything in life, including having a good sleep routine, feeling good, set yourself up for success. You want to set that preparation. So what is that going to look like? Well, you want to look at what the temperature is going to be like in your environment when you're sleeping. So most people, they're going to need a little bit of a cooler temperature. So if you can set your thermostat, Christian actually just put in a new ceiling fan for us, so that is fantastic. For me, I really need that. It does make the air feel a little bit cooler, but typically you do want that to be even under 70 degrees. So depending where you live, we're in Arizona, it's real hot, so we need a little bit more AC to make that happen.
Yes.
So cool temperature.
Yep. And I've noticed in the summer, if it isn't at the right temperature for me, then I'm not sleeping well and waking up in the middle of the night, which completely disrupts your sleep.
Does.
Another thing is keeping it dark. if you have a lot of sunlight, we get tons of that in Arizona. I know other states
Yes.
do. That you maybe get blackout curtains or really good blinds, whatever it is that keeps your room dark.
Oh yeah, or if you're in the city and those lights are kind of creeping through, that's so helpful. So we always have to use blackout curtains. We don't even live right in the city right now, but street lights even, they can kind of, you know, bring lights in, even just cars driving by, things like that. So
Right.
that's a big one. So keeping it as dark as you can, as cool as you can. Kind of sounds too. So some people find that having a little bit of white noise can be helpful. So for me, like the ceiling fan does it where it's just enough, but you want to be careful that it's not too noisy. So for example, if you're watching TV or listening to music or something like that, you don't want a lot of that noise just going on all night because it is going to disrupt your sleep.
Yes, even if you think you can sleep through it, your body knows.
It does, and you may not feel quite as well rested when doing that. So
Right, and I think that also leads into having a good bedtime routine.
yeah,
I think just setting yourself up to relaxation, to getting into bed. Maybe that's turning off your electronics early, not getting that blue light hours before bed.
oh yeah,
Using I know you use blue light blocking glasses. That can
Yes.
be really helpful.
you can use those. You can even, there's a setting on most people's phone where you can change it to at a certain time it will change the light emitted, so you're not getting that same type of blue light. So that can be good just to get an automatic setting. Maybe an hour or two before bed if you can. I'd say if you can completely eliminate technology, TV, phones, computers, do it. It's worth it. If you can't do 1 or 2 hours all at once, even 15 minutes, 30 minutes, a little bit at a time, it can make a difference.
I personally love reading before bed. I feel
Yes.
like it gets me. I mean, I could fall asleep to a book.
And from a book, you're not going to get those same type of blue light issues. So it's a great bedtime routine to add that in. Maybe a nice hot shower, bath if you're someone that does that in the evening. It can be a good time to plan that.
Yes, and then something else you can do if you're a caffeine person, drinker, whatever you want to call it, is to limit the caffeine you're intaking, but also look at the time that you're ending your caffeine. Everyone has a different threshold in how well they metabolize it or how much that's going to affect them later.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice that you're not sleeping as well, that might be something to consider.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So watching that and even just how much caffeine you're having can make a difference as well. So this might vary depending on how much your body is used to, which can change from time to time. So usually general recommendations are to limit going no more than 400 milligrams per day. But based off of your needs, that might be different too. Maybe you don't even need that much, and maybe you need to cut it out a lot earlier. Maybe it's in the afternoon, maybe it's in the morning. So something to watch, caffeine intake. And while we're talking about things that you're drinking, if you're drinking any type of alcoholic beverage, that is a huge part to also keep an eye on. So you don't want to be adding that in right before bed. It might temporarily induce sleep a little bit, but it's going to cause a lot of interruptions once you're already in your sleep cycle, which is not helpful.
Right, yeah, because you get that relaxation and then your body wakes up later and you're ready to go again, which isn't good.
Yeah, so a couple different things to keep an eye on when you're having your different drinks, including actually just any beverage right before bedtime. Our bladders, they are there and aware. And if you are drinking too much before bedtime of really anything, you also don't want to have to wake up in the middle of the night any more than is necessary because you just have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
So, sometimes, like Jenna's pregnant right now, she's getting a little bit more of that than usual, but there are a lot of things you can do, just maybe trying to stay really, really hydrated earlier in the day because you want to be hydrated, but maybe don't save that so close to bedtime to get the bulk of your hydration.
Right. And then another thing is when you do wake up in the morning, it's so important to get sunlight. There's so many good benefits to this, but one is that it helps regulate your body and your body's internal time clock to know, oh, it's sunny outside, it must be morning, it's time to get up. And it kind of sets the whole routine of when your body will know, oh, when it's dark, it's time to go to bed.
Yes, so kind of the old-fashioned, go to bed with the chickens and
Right.
get up with the chickens.
Yes.
Something like that. But yeah, it's based off of actual science, and technology does not help with that. So
Yep.
something just to keep an eye on. Okay, so those are a few different, I think, ideas that we had just for general sleep hygiene. Is there anything else that stands out to you?
So there's a couple things that I just wanted to touch on quickly. I know some people have more severe sleep issues. One would be sleep apnea. That just means basically you stop breathing while you're sleeping.
Yes.
And there can be different reasons. Some of it can be like a nasal issue. Others can be just that you're not getting the right amount of oxygen, or that your throat, I don't want to say it's closing off, but kind of a little bit.
Mhm.
And so if you're not getting enough oxygen because you stop breathing while you're sleeping, that can lead to so many health issues, including cardiovascular disease,
Mhm.
because the oxygen carries, or blood cells carry the oxygen, and if you're not getting enough of that, then that can lead to issues with your heart and other issues as well.
Of
So
course.
it's just really important that if you do have that issue, that you can go and get it checked out with a healthcare professional, as well as some of it can just be from lifestyle, that maybe you're a little overweight, you need to lose weight, because that can make it hard to breathe. And that also brings about another point, that if you are a mouth breather, that can make it hard as well. So during the day, if you can practice breathing through your nose instead of your mouth, that can kind of help set you up for when you're sleeping. Not guaranteed that you're going to sleep or breathe through your nose while you're sleeping, but it could definitely help.
It can help, and yeah, then you're gonna have less risk of having sleep apnea type issues, snoring too, which is going to probably interfere with you and or maybe your partner or anyone in the house's quality of sleep. So it's really a big benefit for everyone involved.
Right, and then another one is that I also thought of is insomnia, which is just you either can't fall asleep, or you get to sleep and then you wake up and have trouble going back to sleep and just can't sleep. There
Yeah.
can be so many reasons. It can be stress, anxiety, or even because you've had insomnia, that the anxiety that you had from something else is leading to anxiety to even going to sleep. There's different relaxation things you can do, but also just getting yourself on a good sleep routine and staying on that even on the weekends can be so helpful if you suffer from that.
Oh yeah. So you're kind of avoiding giving yourself that jet lag, so to speak,
Right.
at the end of every week. That's basically what you're doing when you're setting yourself back, saying, okay, I'm gonna stay up a few hours later. So no one wants that.
Yes. So try to implement whatever strategies you can, make the changes you can.
Yeah, a
to
little
help.
bit at a time.
Yeah.
You know, it can be a lot. So just taking one thing at a time, see what works best for you, and yeah, be sure to follow us for more tips. We'll be sure to share a little bit more about sleep as well as other health related topics. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and our weekly podcast, which will be on iTunes and Spotify each week.
Yes, and this is all under Life in a Salad, so you can follow us on any of these platforms under this